Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for a fundraiser. Now, I'm going to do the same plug at the beginning of every one of my videos this week, so if you've already seen this plug, feel free to use the timestamps down below to just skip to the video. This week, I am partnering with Mental Misplay, Bosch and Roll, Anna Margaret, Eliana, Manicurs, Caleb D, Scrybabies, and the Lords of Limited, and we are taking the initiative for Tran Lifeline. All of these content creators will be raising money for Tran Lifeline this week, and the wonderful Mental Misplay, aka Alan, is going to be matching whatever we fundraise. One of the biggest things that I try to do with my content is kind of keep things cozy, and I have a bunch of, stuffed animals and such behind me to kind of exemplify that. But a lot of times for people, especially if you're part of a marginalized group, things aren't cozy. There's a lot of violent rhetoric out there. There's active discrimination. Sometimes someone's not sure whether or not they're going to get critical medicine they need, or whether or not some law is going to be passed that just totally changes their life in a heartbeat. And sometimes those people need someone to talk to. And this is where Tran Lifeline comes in. This is a trans-led organization that gives trans people somewhere that they can call at any hour of the day when they need help about something. And they can give you real advice because they have had a lot of the same first-hand experiences that you have. They have been through the things that you've been through. And this is a safe place that they can call. No one's going to call the cops on you. No one is going to report you for the things that you say here. And it gives these people a space that they can be themselves in when they are in a moment of crisis. So all these content creators who are working together on taking the initiative for Tran Lifeline are hoping to raise a total of $10,000. And we're going to set stretch goals up to $15,000 because we know the Magic the Gathering community can really come through when it counts. Down below, the very first thing in the video description is going to be a link to our Tiltify, which is where you can donate as a part of this fundraiser. For every $2 that you donate, you will gain 1 entry towards the various prizes that we are going to set as donation incentives. There's a ton of secret lairs, commander deck lists, a one-on-one tutoring session with some of our content creators, and as stretch goals, Brian, Bosch and Roll, and I have even guaranteed that we will do a bonus Saturday video. That's right, 6-day-a-week legacy content. Now, if you donate, please make sure you add some of your contact information so that we can give you the prizes that you do win. So check out the Tiltify link down below if you are interested in donating towards this cause and potentially winning some really sweet prizes. Thank you all for your patience. I wouldn't take the time out of my videos unless this was a cause that was really important to me. And remember, anything that you donate will be matched, so it's really like you're donating twice as much. All right, let's go on to the magic now. So I am a really big fan of the deck list that we're going to be playing today. I saw it on Twitter and immediately knew I was going to record with it that day, because it combines hot new tech with a card that has broken at least one format. So today we are going to be playing Gaak and the Beanstalk, and as much as I'm a descriptive names sort of guy when it comes for deck lists, that's pretty darn good. So this is a 5-0 deck list from Inked Up Dan on Twitter. The general idea is that you are going to use cards like Satyr Wayfinder that put cards into your graveyard, and cards like Witherbloom Command and Stitcher Supplier can do that as well. And we are going to use those cards in our graveyard as reanimation fodder, as Convoke/Delve cards for Hogaak, or Delve cards for Hooting Mandrills. And we can do a lot of broken things with this deck list. We can just cycle a troll and reanimate it. That's a plan. We can play out Mana Dorks and then just immediately natural order into something scary. That's a plan. Or we can wiggle our butts a little bit, get cozy in our chair, cast Up the Beanstalk, and then start turning our Hogaaks and Hooting Mandrills into cantrips. And we are really going to draw deep on our graveyard here with removal spells like Murderous Cut as well. And we're playing Contagion today, folks. We can put two -2/-1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. Yes, that is some fun wording. Now, this is a deck that has a lot of different angles of attack, but all the various pieces overlap. And I'm a huge fan of what I am looking at here. There's a card in the main deck you probably don't know, and that's Titan of Industry. A 7-mana, 7/7 Reach Trampler, and when it ETBs, you choose 2 of destroy an artifact or enchantment, gain 5 life, make a 4/4 Rhino Warrior token, or put a shield counter on a creature you control, which stops the next time it would be destroyed. That's awesome. Like, this deck is so cool. I'm so excited to try it out. Since we kind of had a long introduction today, I'm going to go ahead and go right into the matches here after I mention that today's video is sponsored by both Cool Stuff Inc. and Moxfield.com. And if you need any paper Magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Let's go up the beanstalk. All right, I'm absolutely keeping my hand here. We can probably do some strong things very quickly with this hand. Let's see what my opponent's doing. We're hoping for not combo. A nice, honest, old school island. Feels like control. Alright, that is no shuffle. Stitcher Supplier is going to be my play for this turn. And let's fetch a basic here. Wow. And this can potentially set up some cool reanimate stuff for turn 2. It can potentially set up some Hogaak stuff. Hey, a Hogaak. Now, we do need 2 creatures in play in order to Hogaak. Hogaak's kind of weird in that you can't use mana to pay for it, just physically at all. It's not a thing you're allowed to do. So, I have sort of a cute play that I could do here. I could kill my own Stitcher Supplier. I don't think I want to do that. But I could. A Witherbloom Command. Am I just reanimating a Hogaak here? I think so. I think that's the plan. What's 7 life between friends? Okay, it's in play. Now this is an 8/8. And it tramples. Damn. That's okay. I don't want to be drawing extra copies of Contagion. It's not going to be super strong in this matchup. Alright, so I'm going to mill 3, return a land card from my graveyard to my hand, and drain my opponent for 2. This first one targets me, target opponent targets you. Witherbloom Command. We've got some reanimation stuff in the graveyard. I'll pick up a new land, pass the turn. Now we do have Contagion as a way to stop 4th Aerlinga's tokens from just absolutely savaging me. Or kill some tokens off Staff of the Storyteller. This is the first time that I have seen a Staff of the Storyteller in probably literally weeks at this point. I think 4th Aerlinga's is just very noticeably a better card. I'm going to go ahead and just fetch to thin out the old deck here. It's incredibly marginal, mathematically speaking, but I think I do it because I just need to hit gas so badly right now. Well, I think that becomes my play this turn now. Am I fine to do it in my opponent's upkeep? I think I'm fine to do it in my opponent's upkeep. Or even better, I'll do it in response to this fetch. I presume they're going to fetch a Tundra end of turn. No. Then I guess I'll do it now and make them commit the mana. Yep. Also, it looks like I'm probably hard casting Contagion. Like, unless my opponent plays something like a 4th Aerlinga's, which still could be in their deck, right? Like, that still goes well with Staff of the Storyteller. Unless they do something like that that forces my hand early, I'm just going to hard cast this. Stop it. Yeah, I'll hard cast a Contagion on my turn and kill both of these tokens. Ooh. Yeah, take your cards. And another land drop. Well, it can stop. Let's talk about this. That triggers both copies of Staff now. Hate that for me. Alright. Continue to rip lands out of the deck. Not super interested in a Dryad Arbor. Or am I? I don't think I should have fetched, actually. I forgot about my Dryad Arbor. That helps me cast Hogaak. I'm just going to grab a Bayou. I shouldn't have fetched, though. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So we will put the counters on both of my opponent's creatures. Got them. All right, they're gone. Yeah, I am not, like, super scared of these Staff of the Storytellers, but a 4th Aerlingas for X equals 4 is horrifying. My Hogaaks. This is probably not a great matchup. My opponent has Exile-based removal and Caracas. Sure. I mean, I'll Contagion away both of those bodies. I am okay with that. And my opponent can get their bonus Ponder. I'm not so much with the card advantage here. There's my card advantage. I guess my question is, like, do I want to pitch cast this Contagion so that I can play Up the Beanstalk this turn? I also could just, like, take 3 damage reasonably. Alright. I'll start doing some stuff. Or at least trying. Cool. Alright. So we are going to play out some dudes. And we are going to do the world's weirdest draw a card with this Hogaak. So I'll junk 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw a card with Up the Beanstalk. Yeah, I should have left a Bayou up. Or no, I couldn't have left a Bayou up, right? Because green, green, green. Yeah, that was not an option. Alright, good stuff. Okay. Opponent realized that they can bounce my critter. Would I like to pitch cast Contagion now to draw a card? The Hogaak eats my graveyard anyway, yeah. Contagion! Finding Natural Order? Holy shit. Like, despite the fact that my opponent has drawn, like, approximately 69 cards here, I don't feel so bad. Oh. That's okay, like, I got multiple cards off that Up the Beanstalk already. Hold on now. Let's talk about this. Whatever's about to happen, I hate it. Oh, no. So now we cast a Hooting Mandrills, hope that it gets answered, and then try to Natural Order afterwards. So let's do a Hooting Mandrills, where I pay 3 mana. 1, 2... actually, I should leave some lands, right? Because I can, in theory, get those back with another Witherbloom command. Let's go like Contagion, Contagion, Witherbloom command for Hooting Mandrills. And we will attempt a Natural Order that I expect will get countered. I'll sacrifice the bird. Alright, come on. Okay, there's a Force of Negation. You gotta try. But I think my window on this game is going to close quickly. If you've never seen Urza's Saga alongside Staff of the Storyteller, it is what I would describe as some shit, as this makes a token. This triggers whenever one or more creature tokens come into play. So Urza's Saga activation is going to make a 3/3 that effectively cantrips twice. They will do it again next turn as well. Ooh. My Hooting Mandrills. I think this game is lost. I can still like get lucky and rip a Natural Order or something, but my opponent has great tools for dismantling what I have going on here. I mean, this is exactly the sort of card I want in these situations. Okay, my Beanstalk is in play. Don't do it. Whatever it is, don't do it. March of Otherworldly Life. Light to exile it, sure. Do not get to draw my card off Hooting Mandrills. I mean, I'll hardcast this. That's fine. We're going to leave as many cards in graveyard as possible, I think. I will cast my Ignoble Hierarch, though. Let's go 1, 2, 3. And the goal is to have a roughly 6/6 Trampler that can swing in next turn. But I think my opponent's multiple Urza Sagas is going to be a problem. Just physically, the constructs are going to be big. And the cantripping doesn't help. We'll see how long I decide to continue playing before I just scoop it up here. Alright, new Urza Saga token. The staffs are full of counters. And we'll see how bad the Urza Saga tutor target is going to be. It could be something like a Shadow Spear, could be something like an Expedition map, could be Pithing Needle, Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, sure. Which is like definitely relevant here. I don't think I want to play this matchup. I think my opponent is going to have a ton of very relevant tools to beat me. But, you know, at the end of the day, we still do have stuff like Natural Order that can just absolutely steal games. And my opponent does only have 3 cards. Ignore the counters on Staff of the Storyteller. Ooh. I think at this point I'm going to take my draw step and then probably concede. Retrofitter Foundry means that these construct tokens are just going to go very wide of a single Hooting Mandrill, and my opponent can produce enough bodies that Troll is not going to just be an unblockable idiot. So I think we're done. We put up a hell of a fight, though, especially since our start was so slow. Okay. Let's play a Troll. Attacking with this as a 6/6 is no good against these bodies. My goal is to survive my opponent's next turn, and then somehow resolve Craterhoof. I have 7 mana sources in play, so I would need another land and the life to activate it. This is just disgusting amounts of value. So Retrofitter Foundry can also be untapped, by the way, for 3 mana. So my opponent, like, very easily can just, like, token, untap, token. And then those creatures are 9/9s. Is it another Lorien revealed? Or no, it's 4th Aerlingas. Yeah, okay. So much for surviving this turn. We're dead. Good game, though. So I don't think I'm the biggest fan of Contagion here. I like Grist to help me grind. Murderous Cut can probably become Assassin's Trophy. That way I have answers to things like Planeswalkers. I need to look up shield counter. I think it is Destroy specifically. Yeah, it's destroyed either by removal or combat damage. That's probably not better than just flooping a Progenitus into play in this matchup. I also don't hate just having access to a Collector Oof to shut off all of the copies of Staff. I can probably go down a Mana Dork. I expect this game to go long. I think I don't want Grief versus this deck. Yeah, this is totally fine. This has great tools. We'll just play a Swamp and pass. I am probably going to just Swamp Cycle Reanimate and make my opponent respect the 6/5 creature pretty much immediately. I'll grab a Bayou. Alright, did not want to draw another Bayou there. I'm going to just shove the Reanimate here. This 6 life probably comes back. Unfortunately, my opponent now gets to see what my deck is like, and this is very much a brand new deck, like was tweeted about 4 hours ago or something like that. So Brewer's advantage is gone. Alright, my Reanimate is countered with no spells, or nothing for it to target available anymore. And my opponent gets to go do their nonsense. They're going to need a counter spell for my Grist, otherwise my Grist is going to accumulate a lot of value. My opponent's down quite a bit on clock, just as an aside here. Gaia's Cradle. I think I should have fetched a basic forest this turn, just in case my opponent Blood Moons. I'm not expecting that. Oh, damn, they had the counterspell. I'm not, like, super expecting Blood Moon since my opponent is an Urza Saga deck, but, you know, playing around it is relatively free here. Okay, no play from my opponent. We've drawn too many lands here. Well, I mean, those aren't lands. That's good, I guess. So now I go ahead and fetch a Dryad Arbor. And we give him the Gaak. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll leave Grist in the graveyard. 5. Alright, Hogaak's in play. Hogaak safe? I don't feel like Hogaak's safe. Please don't Terminus me. I have a family. I have 2 Gaia's Cradles. They just need some creatures. I'll do it. Oh, thank God it's not Terminus. Fetch, fetch, Supreme Verdict. Get wrecked, nerd. Someday I should use my powers for something other than Magic the Gathering. A Hogaak. It's not gonna do a lot right now. I'm shields down. If my opponent can cast like a 4th Aerlingas for X's 3 this turn, I think the game basically ends on the spot. Yeah. I'll take another draw step or 2 because like this is going to just kill me quickly, but I think that's the effective end of the game. Like my opponent is the Monarch. I have nothing in play. A Reanimate doesn't really solve all of my problems anymore. That could solve all my problems. If I draw a green creature next turn and Natural Order resolves, I can get Progenitus, kill my opponent in 2 turns. Might require me fetching. Ooh. That extra power probably does it. Alright, I'm at 7. This is not a green creature. So I can't use it to Natural Order. I think that means I'm dead. I'm not going to have a second creature to Hogaak. I don't have like a Bloodghast or anything here. Yeah, that didn't quite work out. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I personally keep all of my deck lists for every format on this site. I love that I can go and sort them by types and tags if I need to. There's a lot of different viewing options. It can give you some math about your mana symbol, your curve, and you can even playtest and do sample opening hands with it. Check this site out if you haven't before. It's awesome. Okay. This doesn't fetch Dryad Arbor. So I can't like Dryad Arbor into Cradle to always have 2 mana to do this. I have like some really good cards and the hand almost works as is. I think there's too many fail cases though. Yeah, this hand is going to be much better. I'm gonna keep it. Not sure which thing to get rid of. I think I'm going to get rid of Hogaak, hoping that a Stitcher Supplier kind of helps me find a Hogaak or otherwise fuel some of my nonsense. Oh, hey, Hogaak came back. Fantastic. I think we just start on the mana ramp here against Snow-Covered Island. My opponent says, I hope the card I'm testing comes up in your video. I'm not sure if I do. I'm not sure if I want that. Alright, let's Stitcher Supplier. Troll Up the Beanstalk Forest. If I play Gaia's Cradle, I have 2 mana, can use 1 to cycle the Ent, 4 cards in graveyard. 1 card short, so probably shouldn't show Gaia's Cradle this turn. Let's just play Swamp and attack for 1. Take these individual points of damage. I'm guessing my opponent is playing like a Doomsday deck, so those individual points of damage will like definitely matter. And we can go for a Natural Order next turn. So these 3 lands wouldn't cast a Doomsday on their own. Oh, it is a Show and Tell. Yeah, I mean, I'll put in a Hogaak. Fuck it, let's go. Opponent's card might be better. Okay. That might be beatable. That's fine. That's scary. I also think it's a mistake to play Palantir prior to Brainstorm. The Suvan Drifter, sure. This will trigger. Not doing anything. My opponent can scry too. You don't get to draw a card. I just cast a Natural Order and attempt to kill you, right? So I play Natural Order. I get Craterhoof. Everything gets +3/+3. Trample, like another creature. Yeah, you don't get to draw a card. I take 3 off of a Suvan Drifter. That's fine. I may get punished for not playing Gaia's Cradle. I wanted to not show that, but now I can't get like Dryad Arbor to sacrifice that. Yeah, for that very fringe scenario. Ooh. So my opponent can block a total of 15 damage. 15 plus 18 is 33. So I have 9 from Craterhoof, 1 from Stitcher's Supplier, 5 from Craterhoof, 8 from Hogaak. I need 10 more points of damage that I don't have. I can get 4 more by taking out Vesuvan Drifter. Alright. Tap Gaia's Cradle. Tap this for black. I'm always casting the Natural Order, getting rid of the Ignoble Hierarch. This destroys an artifact. This is indestructible. Do I just want to get this and like get rid of Palantir? This is a weird spot. Yeah. Oh, this is an ugly looking trigger. Okay. Let's destroy an artifact or enchantment and make a creature. We're going to go for the Palantir here, I think. I don't know. I can just hit the Omniscience, and then a lot of the scariest things don't happen anymore. Okay. Murderous cut the Vesuvan Drifter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take that out. And then I can hope to kill my opponent by going wide of them. Yeah, man, not playing Gaia's Cradle that previous turn to hide that information was costly. I don't know that it's incorrect. Alright, Palantir triggers. I can deal 12 damage to my opponent this turn. I'm going to take the damage, I think. Take 8. They draw cards from here on out. Well, that takes this out. This is on just ETB, right? Yep, just ETB. Yep, we'll pass the turn here because my opponent blocks this. Takes 7, 11, 12. Actually, if I attack with both of these, my opponent can block this, take 8. No, I don't think I'm interested in that quite yet. All right. We will... Oh, right. I have a Hogaak. I can do that for 1 mana. All right. Satyr, Wayfinder. Fantastic. Put a Bayou into my hand, which I guess I'm playing. Oh, it doesn't attack with all 3 of these creatures now. Makes sense. My opponent blocks this one. Takes 12. I can prevent lethal attacks in on my end with Chump Chump. I think that now makes sense. Swing on in. Alright, my opponent tanks for a minute and makes the expected block. They will go to 6. Okay. Got a land drop so they can look at a card with Vesuvan Drifter and then fetch it away if they don't like it. Drifter trigger. Alright, the Blightstale is coming in. We will block. Stitcher Supplier dies. I am at 9 poison counters. My opponent needs a relevant card or needs a creature on top of their library for Vesuvan Drifter. Alright, trigger. They are dead on board unless they have a relevant spell here. They needed to fetch and try to spike a creature unless they have another spell. Which they shouldn't, because if I had another spell, I was just dead on their turn. My opponent says, oh wow, I clicked the wrong yes, lol. Okay. So my opponent's playing a Show and Tell deck. I would like extra disruption versus them in the form of Grief. They have things like Palantir, which makes Force of Vigor something that I will definitely consider. Same with Assassin's Trophy. And I can think about Murderous Cut too. This only is low CMC, right? Yeah, with mana value 2 or less. I'm not super excited about Witherbloom Command. I think I'm going to get rid of those. I'm not super excited about Contagion. Those can go. Murderous Cut is a little iffy. It definitely can do some things. It is just a black card for the purposes of cards like Grief, so like that's definitely not bad. This can be kind of neat off a Show and Tell. It creates a trigger that can stop an Omniscience. I also might just like straight up play a Progenitus so that I can have something else to put in off a show and tell. Like that is legitimately not a bad thing here. I don't necessarily need to grind with Up the Beanstalk in this matchup. Like I am just trying to get my opponent dead. So do I want Force of Vigor? No, I think I'm going to take the more flexible Assassin's Trophy. So this is just turn 1, Swamp Cycle, turn 2, reanimate my creature. Is that fine? Fine for a game on the draw specifically? I'd really rather like Grief reanimate Grief my opponent. I'm going to fish a little bit here. Yeah, Grief reanimate Grief on turn 1. Fuck yeah, let's fucking go. Keep. I am thinking about whether or not Natural Order goes back. It is a very powerful card. I am going to keep that. I think that means I'm throwing back basic Swamp. But yeah, I would like to just rip a hole in my opponent's hand here. Let's preemptively fetch. Bayou. Grief pitching a Grief. Yeah, you can brainstorm and hide your best stuff. There's a very real chance that I can just like take a good creature out of my opponent's hand and reanimate it. Although a lot of the stuff that my opponent will have can end up shuffling. What are we working with? Sure. Probably just take the Force of Will here. Then I know that this is good. So we'll take this and grab the Show and Tell. I have more answers to a Vesuvan Drifter than I do a Show and Tell. Got it. Craterhoof's a pretty bad draw. I might in fact go as far as to say one of the worst draws in the deck, as it doesn't let me Grief and take that Vesuvan Drifter this turn, and it isn't a land, and it takes away one of my best Natural Order targets. Basically, I'm not happy with my my draw step there. I presume this is now Vesuvan Drifter. Oh, it is a Palantir. Unfortunately, I kept the Natural Order rather than the third land, so I am not able to take that out. My opponent bottomed. I'll take the damage. 0 damage. Gamble occurs. So I can Assassin's Trophy the Palantir on my opponent's turn. I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I don't want to do it now. I don't want to give them the bonus land. Alright, there's a Drifter. Which one's a bigger problem? I think the Palantir. If a Vesuvan Drifter randomly spikes a creature, I could change my mind. I don't know, maybe I take out the Drifter. Like, I do have more Bosejus or Palantir. And then we'll see what these Scries do. Top. You get to draw the card then, I think. And I just kind of hope it's awkward. A Reanimate. That is not the best card as of right now. It's potentially good. I can Grief my opponent and take a card out of their hand. Or I can just reanimate a Vesuvan Drifter and put my opponent on a 2-turn clock, which is, I think, what I am going to do. And hope that my opponent's... Okay, that's a black card for Grief next turn. Alright, it is the Show and Tell. So now I do the game of, is my opponent putting in Omniscience or not Omniscience? If they put in Omniscience, I want to Grief and take a card from them, and if they don't put in Omniscience, I probably want Craterhoof. I'm going to go for Grief. My opponent didn't cycle Lorien Revealed last turn, which makes me think that they have Omniscience. Ooh, those are some cards. Grizzlebrand can't block? The Griefs? Can block the Vesuvan Drifter. I think I am taking the Grizzlebrand. The draw 7 is just too scary. And I just kind of hope that, yeah, I can take out Shouldered with Assassin's Trophy and move on with my life. I don't think I can leave my opponent with both creatures and take Lorien Revealed. That's rough. I think I don't win this game from here. Sure. That was a pretty hot set of cards. I am comfortable conceding and saving my time. I can make some small changes, like Grist is somewhat reasonable for the past the turn baselines. It's just like otherwise kind of slow. I think I am fine with what I have submitted. I need a second land with this hand in order for it to do anything. I think this one is an auto mulligan. Turn 1 Dryad Arbor. Turn 2 Gaia's Cradle, have 2 mana. Play Satyr Wayfinder. Work towards turn 3 Natural Order. This is not my favorite looking hand. I think I'm keeping it. But the old Dryad Arbor pass hand feels pretty bad. We're not going to be great versus a counterspell. But I'm not really expecting removal for the Dryad Arbor from my opponent. At least not until 3 mana. So, Dryad Arbor plays an Ignoble Hierarch. Now have 2 mana off Gaia's Cradle for Satyr Wayfinder. Get a Bayou to hand. No Hogaak to graveyard or anything. So my opponent made their land drop and is now just kind of sitting there thinking, that's 7 mana. I could just cast that this turn in Natural Order next turn. But I think I want to keep this in hand for Natural Order based reasons. I think I just go land, bird, 4 mana, Natural Order. And then I can cast a Titan next turn if that seems like it is going to be a relevant thing to do. Show me a counterspell. They showed me a counterspell. I'll send in with these creatures. Opponent's at 17. Alright, seeing some movement from my opponent at end of turn. And a Limdual's Vault. This is a neat pseudo-tutor. My opponent may end up paying some life in order to look at the top 5 cards multiple times and find a good set of cards. Alright, my opponent stopped at 13 life and they found what they wanted. I presume that means they're going to end up show and telling this turn, and we hope that they put in an Omniscience instead of a creature. Titan of Industry. Archon of Cruelty. I'm going to make a Rhino for sure. I guess the shield counter is good. Rhino, shield counter. Shield counter this 7/7. Don't think it matters too much which one I sacrifice. I think I want to keep this. Get rid of you. Buy second Gaia's Cradle. Let's go. Bam. Bam. Bayou. Didn't manage to spike a Hogaak, unfortunately. We'll send in with our large creature here. Have my opponent's life total. They're at 8. Which effectively means they're at 11, assuming this does attack. But that is facing down lethal damage. So my opponent is going to need to produce an extra body here. At this point, I probably just get rid of the thing that has 0 power, right? Probably. That specifically matters, I guess, if my opponent produces Grizzlebrand, which is a 7/7. Evasuvan Drifter. Let's see. So if I attack, my opponent soaks up 4 damage. So they soak up this 7, 8, 9. Unfortunate. It does have reach. I can block this if my opponent attacks with it. So I guess I'm just attacking with the 4/4. I guess this triggers. And in with the Rhino. Alright, my opponent is going to just take a chump here. And I don't need to delve anything out of my graveyard to just cast Hooting Mandrills here. My opponent needs to have more creatures, which unfortunately they did. If a Suvan Drifter hits anything. Nope. A Reanimate. If I attack, my opponent chumps this with this. Blocks Hooting Mandrills with this. That's 9 incoming damage. Doesn't really do it for me. Very close. I can reanimate. I can reanimate a flyer. I can also just reanimate Grief. That's probably fine. We'll shut off my fetch lands. Alright, Grief's in play. Archon, Grizzlebrand, Seagate. If my opponent hits Show and Tell, does either one of those just usually beat me? Probably. I don't think I take one of these. I think I take the land. Alright, so next turn, that added damage will mean that I have lethal. I just need to dodge for a turn. I guess if I take Archon, I play around Brainstorm as a draw, putting another Archon on top of Library. Not sure if that's better than denying a mana for something like a cantrip chain. God damn it. I mean, my opponent still has to see the line. Alright, there's the trigger. Yep, alright. To be fair, though, like, having a Grizzlebrand there probably leads to a similarly bad spot. Alright, we have a reasonable opening hand here, but I say that with the understanding that if I lose a mana dork, it's pretty awkward here. I think I'm going to get a forest to play around Wasteland. Like, this hand is quite strong if I can play Ignoble Hierarch into Up the Beanstalk next turn, and pretty medium if I don't get to do that. I'll do it. Bird has so much to live for. Damn. Alright, my hand got considerably worse. Like, I can't play around Daze this turn because Gaia's Cradle doesn't actually produce mana for that, and I need to play this as a land drop so that I have more options next turn, which just probably gets this wastelanded some portion of the time. Sure. We're basically dead this game. Like, my Up the Beanstalks are now actively bad. Yeah. I guess I'm cutting this. I'm just unhappy about it. I'm also not going to play around Daze because I think I am going to need my graveyard later. I want to leave a land in there for the purposes of Witherbloom command. Alright, we dodged. I'm still incredibly far behind. You know, maybe if my opponent has no counterspells and I do just get to, like, resolve a Beanstalk into a Beanstalk and then start casting some big spells, some cool stuff happens, but I am not hopeful. Sure. Just in so many of these scenarios, like, counterspells are going to be backbreaking, and something like a Murktide Regent is probably coming. Alright. Beanstalk. Finding a Cradle, not what I'm looking for. Need creatures for Natural Order. I also need this Delver to not flip. Boo. So, I'm taking 4 this turn. And I could take a much larger amount the following turn. No shuffle off that Ponder either, so they like what they found. I'm at 13. Is it Murktide? It is not Murktide. Beans? Don't Bowmaster me, please. Cool. Ebo Seiju is not doing a lot right now. Are you a creature or are you a land? You're probably a land. It probably doesn't matter, though, because I am just going to die. Like, I take 4 damage here. I'm on a 2-turn clock, maybe less than that, because Lightning Bolt is a thing, more creatures are a thing. Now that I got Wastelanded, I will absolutely Swamp Cycle that. Do a Bayou. Thank you, deck. I still could win with creature next turn into the shield counter guy. But that requires my opponent to have no counter spells, and I don't think that's very likely given play patterns for this game. Sure. Yep. Alright. I'm not sure that I'm going to sideboard a lot here. I have 4 more removal spells that I can play. I'm definitely interested in an Endurance. Contagion is sort of awkward. It's not, like, really a removal spell. Nice if I have Beans. I don't really want Beans versus Orcish Bowmasters, though. I don't want this versus Orcish Bowmasters. I'd prefer not to 2-for-1 myself against that card. Can I go 6 out? Like, can I cut all of this? Play this if I wanted to do that. Yeah, I don't really want to expose myself to Orcish Bowmasters, so I'm interested in that. And then it's like, do I want an extra Assassin's Trophy for Murktide Regent? Also like Hoof versus Progenitus. I'm not the biggest Natural Order fan against counterspells when I can't use discard to check and see if the coast is clear. Feels kind of like Bowmasters has warped things here in a way that I don't like. I didn't end up boarding those out after talking about it. I did not. Cool. Regardless, this hand doesn't really do anything. This hand does stuff. I am good with this one. I'm going to pitch one copy of Reanimate. I think I want access to the Hogaak. I can play this game on basic lands for a little while, and if one of these gets countered, I have a second thing that can attempt to put cards into my graveyard. So here we go. Let's attempt to fuel the graveyard. There's a troll in there. That's perfectly reasonable. Troll is an X5, so it is outside of range of normal removal like Lightning Bolt, which is pretty cool. Fantastic. That gives me a second thing to do this turn. Get the basic. We will attempt to reanimate the troll. It's in play. We'll attempt to ignoble Hierarch. It's in play. I mean, I'm willing to do a Dazeable Hogaak to press my advantage here. It's in play. Yeah, things looking good. I like it when Delver doesn't have interaction. Warms my heart. Let's see if Delver blind flips. Does. Now, in some timelines, my opponent can race us. I am at 12. Things would need to go pretty much perfectly in order for that to happen. But, for example, Delver attack puts me to 9. If my opponent attacked for 6 and lightning bolted me next turn, that could just do it. And they are going to attempt to kill me. And honestly, fair. Natural Order is not castable. I'll play this instead. Oh, Gaia's Cradle. I'll take that. Gaia's Cradle. Tap for a gajillion mana. Natural Order. Sacrifice the Wayfinder. Show me a counterspell? No. Oof. This is what we came here to do. We have gotten the GG. That was honestly the nuts on my end. So we'll go to a game 3. Contagion becomes Assassin's Trophy. Does second Contagion become Progenitus? It's really bad to draw. I don't think so. This hand is going to require more mana. I think I am going to believe in Stitcher Supplier plus double Reanimate on the draw. Now, my opponent did show me a Surgical Extraction, but there's probably not that many copies of that card in their deck. Alright. That's more land. I'm fine starting on a basic swamp here. And again, we're hoping for no days, because that is backbreakingly good. Ooh, there's a Hogaak in there. There is also a Grist. Note that when Grist is in graveyard, Grist is a creature, so I can reanimate Grist. And we'll kind of see what happens with Dragon Rage Channeler this turn. If it stays small, I can kill it with a Witherbloom command. We'll just kind of see where this turn cycle goes. This is the sort of scenario where Contagion is just absolutely the dream. Draw step, so you're going to Surgical me. Targeting what? Targeting the Hogaak, sure. I play Reanimate on Grist. Grist plus, I can Witherbloom command afterwards. No, I can't. I don't have enough colors. I think I just removal spell this turn. I think I'm good with that. And I think I would like a land. I mill myself. I attempt to kill Dragon Rage Channeler. If I preserve my life total, my reanimates are better. And my opponent is hard-pressed to use counterspells. I have Natural Order in hand. I guess they know I have double Natural Order, right? Ooh, they are dazing. I will not pay for that. I'm going to hold Stitcher Supplier back in case one of these two creatures is not big. I want to threaten a block. Scumbag Delver unfortunately flips to Lightning Bolt. Sure. Okay. I mean, that is a very relevant Wasteland. Because that means I can't attempt double reanimate, unfortunately. Am I blocking with Stitcher Supplier? It's awkward with Gaia's Cradle being a land drop that I have. But it sure does seem like I need to not just take 9 damage in the air. I'm gonna go for the block. Unsure if that's correct. So we mill some cards. Graveyard is juicy. I think reanimate Grist is the play. So Grist plus, which gives me mana, allowing me to use Gaia's Cradle for Noble Hierarch. And this provides a good distraction for the Delver that buys me time to do other stuff. We're just kind of hoping the other Delver doesn't flip as well. To another goddamn Lightning Bolt? Fuck me. Okay. That's rough. I guess my opponent's got some choices in regards to where damage gets pointed here. I guess I can reanimate a Dryad Arbor for 0 life. I don't know that I've ever done that before. Okay, so Grist is going down. Lightning Bolt a creature, takes me off of mana. That's very good. So we're just working towards a natural order doing stuff. So let's fetch. Grab Bayou. I cannot reanimate Grist or I die to Delver attacks plus Lightning Bolt face. I think I just do the 0 life loss line that I talked about. The reanimate Dryad Arbor. So this is 1, 2, 3 mana. I have natural order next turn. Insect token should be fine to do some chip damage. My opponent can use another Lightning Bolt to take out one of my creatures, but I can still spike a land to get there. Take 6. Go to 6. I guess I could have taken 2 more damage to get a Satyr Wayfinder to have a higher percentage of playing a creature on my turn. Never didn't have it though. Show me your counterspell. Oh wait, it's Lightning Bolt. So this is what we're going for. So I'm going to gain 5 life and make a 4/4. Target player gains 5 life. Yep. All right, fantastic. We are at 11. I can natural order again next turn. Nice. Sure. A Plague Engineer. Okay, that's a little annoying. Death Touch and all. So I know my natural order resolves. Let's cast that. We'll sacrifice the Rhino here. Is Hoof lethal? 6, 11, 12, 13. Hoof is not lethal. Get Generous Ent, just really stall things out. Nah, I think I'm going to go with Grist. Just plus, start producing bodies. Make my opponent make some attacks into this. See what my opponent can do about this. I wish this thing also did something on attack. Kind of like, what is it? Elder Gargaroth? Gargoloth? Question mark. Okay, no attack from my opponent, which means that I just am accumulating mana and things for Grist. Assassin's Trophy. That's really good. Am I Grist minusing? I don't think so. I'm gonna plus and play the Troll this turn. I'm just like going towards forcing the Grist ultimate. I don't think my opponent's last card is Daze. That wouldn't really make any sense. I could attack with this. I'm not going to. Because I would like to get rid of this Plague Engineer next turn. I think. How many creatures are in my graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Yeah, okay. We've got a win on the board. So this opening hand has no mana. Well, this hand doesn't really do anything, but I'm going to try to believe. We'll just make a land drop on pass. Do not like this hand versus Underground Sea. I doubly don't like this hand versus Thoughtseize. What? That... Look, if my opponent reanimates this Hogaak next turn, that's not a mistake. But that feels weird, because this is castable from my graveyard. Yeah. Yeah, okay. We're going. These are going to be Bayous. Citrus Supplier. Mill 3. There's a Hogaak. Fetch. Right Arbor. Hogaak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exactly. Fuck! Alright. That's okay. Like, we've got Up the Beanstalk for some value. We've got a natural order coming later on. And is a reanimate on Hogaak? Sure. That may be beatable. Right? Like, I Satyr Wayfinder, I get a land, I natural order next turn, my opponent dies. That sounds very fun. Let's do that. I missed my land on 4 looks. That is unfortunate. May lose the game for that miss. I eat 8 damage here. I don't think it's worth blocking. A, trample. B, I need bodies in play to kill with Crater Hoof. Wasteland. Alright, Gaia's Cradle off the top, please. Fatal Push, too. Damn. I'm probably now dead. We're gonna try this. So we're gonna drain and attempt to get a land. Okay. Gaia's Cradle? I guess Dryad Arbor. Play Dryad Arbor. Attack for 1. I can still rip a land next turn to natural order for lethal. So we're still live, but this is definitely on the scary side here. I'm at 4. Sure. Okay. I think that does it. I cannot cast Hogaak. I shouldn't show that card, actually, because I'm not actually drawing towards any outs. Alright, so we are probably playing against the blue-black scam deck. Doesn't look like Death Shadow, because we didn't see any shock lands. Could still be, like that deck does still run Underground Sea. I am... And Orcish Bowmasters makes Up the Beanstalk so effing awkward. It's I just can't draw those cards versus Orcish Bowmasters because it pings my dorks that let me play Hogaak. Yeah, I think these are going to give me more mid-range answers to reanimated threats. Something like that. And then I think about Contagion. Like, Contagion is fine if I keep in the Beanstalks, and I'm just, like, not sure that I'm supposed to do that. Like, I almost want to cut those and do something like this. And I have no idea if that's right. Zero Lander. This is fine. I think the Endurance is going with this hand. It's just the most expensive thing here. This is fine to be a basic swamp. It's a little awkward to do that, because this... Well, I guess I can get a Bayou with that and just not get wastelanded in the first turn cycle. Alright, sure. There's definitely a cost associated with this play, though. Sure. Oh, yeah, okay, so I hit the Progenitus, which is why I did not get a third card into the graveyard. I was trying to sit there and puzzle through that. Oh, I am wrong. There were Shocklands. It is Death Shadow. So my opponent can now take my Troll. And that knocks me off a land drop in a very meaningful way. Yep. Kind of punished by getting Swamp accordingly. My mana is much worse. So this is a very good counterspell if my opponent has it. Hit Verdant Catacombs. And I am just going to jam the Hogaak into Daze. I don't have reanimates right now. I'm going to take all the creatures out of graveyards. I'll cast this again later. If it gets dazed, it gets dazed, but I would like to try to get ahead on board. Got dazed. I just don't think I'm favored by waiting because removal spells exist. Orcish Bowmasters exist. Surgicals would not be crazy. Reanimates on my Hogaak would not be crazy. Alright, 14. Oh, that's my answer for Hogaak. Troll's not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is Dryad Arbor. Hogaak again. Hogaak happens. I've played a land this turn, so I don't need to cycle this troll immediately. Okay, cool. I could grief my opponent for this game. The natural order plan is a little bit worse on the draw. I still think I need that plan. Like, have my opponent expend resources on my early stuff, and then the natural order gets them in the late game. My opponent took 1 mulligan. We'll just kind of see how bad this turn 1 is for me. It's a Thoughtseize. My Stitcher Supplier is easily my best card in this hand. Not close. Unhappy with that draw. This is a we are getting wastelanded game. Just heads up. Sure. Okay. We dodged an immediate wasteland, which is good. That means I get to Witherbloom command and get another land drop back. Goodbye, Hooting Mandrills. Yep. And it's the games like this one where we really would appreciate the beans. Alright. Mill 3 cards, drain you. Get back a Bayou. This troll is probably not castable this game, which is pretty unfortunate. Feels like my opponent has Bowmasters. Also unfortunate. And a draw of a swamp. I have like 1 Bayou left. Ugh. Alright, they are cycling a troll. Either one of us drawing a reanimate is a pretty big deal right now. Are you dealing damage? Not dealing damage to self. So since there is already a big fatty in the graveyard, we're fine cycling this. That is the last fetchable in the deck other than Forest. Alright. Play creature. Alright, that gets me Forest. Dryad Arbor hasn't been used this game? Yeah, Dryad Arbor hasn't been used this game. I guess this is also Dryad Arbor for a Hogaak. So I guess I will play that. Sure. Looks like we both kind of flooded out here. My opponent, though, has Brainstorm in their deck to fix that. And put back some extra lands, and I don't. So I'm just stuck with this 4-lander with no Brainstorm to save me. Sure. Death Shadows can be online now. Yep. I'm not going to fetch with this Verdant Catacombs yet. That is a Reanimate. Reanimate target Grist is really effing good here. Is that better than Troll? If I Reanimate Grist and my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, they can ping the Satyr Wayfinder in response to my Grist, and that would be annoying. I can Dryad Arbor if that's the case, though. Okay. Reanimate Grist. Minus Grist. Take out a Death Shadow. And leave a, in theory, clear board. Again, Orcish Bowmasters could happen. Nice. Dodged that, at least for now. Alright, my opponent took a troll. Their life total is very low. I don't have an immediate answer to this troll. Plus find Hogaak? Not Hogaak. Land drop. Play Ignoble Hierarch. I guess my opponent's at 4. Like, I can attack for 2 with Exalted twice. That's a thing. I could block this by fetching with Dryad Arbor. I don't think that's good. I think Grist is just going. Alright. I am not going to fetch Dryad Arbor. I'll just attack with an Exalted creature, I think. That's an Assassin's Trophy. That's very good. Ship in for 2. With Exalted. Opponent's at 2. I'll pass the turn. I don't want to just cast this into a hard cast Force of Will. Do I cast it in their upkeep, though? I don't think so. Because this Assassin's Trophy just goes after whatever blocker my opponent has. Reanimate on a Death Shadow. Yeah. Opponent's at 1 as a very large creature. They'll attempt to attack me for 6, and then I'll take that damage and kill the Death Shadow. I am good with all this. I also can just fetch Dryad Arbor for lethal as well. Oh, fuck. If they have a Force of Will, it was very bad for them to not play that land out ahead of time. But if they have Force of Will, they're just dead anyway. Okay, cool. GG's. All right, I have kept my opening hand here. I have double Stitcher's Supplier. This hand is quite strong. I have some decisions about whether or not I play a Mana Dork on turn 1 or not. All right, fetch land from my opponent, and they're a fan of the channel to boot. Taiga lands? Dryad Arbor. Applejacks? There could be red removal. If there's red removal, Stitcher Supplier is better, but kind of want to just play a creature, and then I almost certainly Hogaak next turn. I think I'm getting dual lands. I think I just want that flexibility. It's like I have black, black, and green, green in my hand as things that I conceptually could want to do. Swords? Sure. Could be a Leyline Binding deck over there. Reanimate. Okay. This is probably gonna be a good turn, if I were to guess. That's a troll. 1, 2, 3. Bloodstained Mire would be 4. Fetch. Bayou. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reanimate Troll. Oh god, this turn's fucking hot. Reanimate Troll. 5 cards in graveyard. And conveniently, 2 creatures. Yeah. Okay. Why didn't we do this in the earlier rounds? That feels pretty damn good. This also could be like a Knight of the Reliquary, Dark Depths sort of deck. Wasteland's fine. Minsc and Boo? Minsc and Boo, sure. That is a big boy. Stitcher Supplier can put 3 things into graveyard. I'm 1 mana short of Murderous cutting that thing. I'd probably kill the Planeswalker. Hit my opponent for 8, bring them to 11, kill them the following turn. What if I also attack with this? Push that extra point of damage, and if my opponent blocks, I can then Murderous cut this token. Yeah. That kills Minsc and Boo. That swings at my opponent. This swings at my opponent. Minsc and Boo is dead. Stitcher Supplier or double Mana Dork? Probably double Mana Dork. I'm not expecting some sort of random sweeper from my opponent. And double Mana Dork helps in case I get wastelanded. So my opponent's got another land drop. They're at 9. They're facing a very large amount of damage. Yeah, so they are on all the colors. Sure. What gets you out of this? Okay. I guess that can represent something like a Swords to Plowshares still. But if it doesn't, you're dead. Sure. Bam, bam, bam. Show me swords. That is swords. Opponent's at 5. Stitcher's Supplier is next, I think. So now, is it Murderous Cut or is it just Hogaak? I think I just redeploy Hogaak and just leave the graveyard healthy. Wow, I guess I'm not leaving the graveyard that healthy. 1 short of Gaak. Yeah, I guess we're just holding up Murderous Cut then. Do I want to let my opponent untap? Yes. I think that's fine. If my opponent attacks with the Boo, they do not. End of turn. Cut target Boo. Takes 2 cards out of graveyard to do that. Force of Will, pitching Leovold. Sure. A reanimate. Can reanimate my opponent's Uro. I think I'm just swinging in with the troll, making my opponent have something, and if they have something, I reanimate. It's also probably not crazy to attack with these. Yeah, I was expecting that. Sure. My opponent triple blocks on the troll. I will clear all of that stuff out. My opponent goes to 2. Reanimate target Orcish Bowmaster is pretty gross. I think I just do troll. That's just something that kills through Uro next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards in graveyard, so I can't Hogaak. Okay, cool. We are up a game. So we are playing against some 5-color control nonsense. I'm going to assume that this mana base suggests something like Leyline Binding. With Leovold being revealed, it's also pretty reasonable that my opponent is playing a Green Sun package. Actually, they might have just Green Sun for Dryad Arbor. So, wrong possibility is what I'm hinting at here. If the beans shine, it probably will be here. Again, though, like, this whole Orcish Bowmasters thing is so damn awkward. I think I keep the beans, though. I think I'm going to go Contagion out. I'm not sure that I want this. Like, this is just going to eat it to exile-based removal. I think I'm into this. I think I'm into the copies of Grist. Then these are reasonable Magic the Gathering cards as well. I'm going to go down 1 Mana Dork to pick up an Endurance to help with Uro. And I think I'm going to try this without Assassin's Trophy. This is a reasonable Magic the Gathering hand that doesn't quite do anything immediately. Red mana? Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Sure. I can probably lead turn 1 on a basic land here. And do Ignoble Hierarch. I've got some reasonable plays in the early game. Hopefully we exhaust some of my opponent's resources, and then Up the Beanstalk and Natural Order end up in with cool things happening. Sure. That's a bit of a weird brainstorm. Because that probably brainstorm locks them, unless they have something like Lorien Revealed to shuffle. Ooh, love that. Swamp Cycle to stay on basic lands. And then Witherbloom Command, I think. My opponent said, I swear I'm a competent blue player. Alright, kill a creature, and I'll get a land. Mill me, kill Dryad Arbor. Oh, I have to play my land drop. Alright, goodbye Dryad Arbor. Hello Verdant Catacombs, with Hogaak as a bonus surprise guest. Did my opponent brainstorm lock themselves? No. Well, I mean, maybe. Alright, yeah, there's Orcish Bowmasters. Again, very awkward. Well, that's not so bad. Not so good either, but... So, we're just gonna make some creatures. The hope is that my opponent can't take out this Grist in this turn cycle, and then I get to produce a Hogaak. 4 mana. That's Minskin-Boo. That's very good. So, see how my opponent does this. Both are swinging at Grist. I can just Natural Order for Progenitus on my turn. Not great versus a counterspell, but I think I'm into it. Minskin-Boo is a card that I very specifically did not want to see. Reanimate. Well, that opens up some cool lines, but I am going to confirm that Progenitus is currently in my deck. It is. Give me a counterspell. Sacrifice a green creature. Okay. Now I could hoof and kill Minskin-Boo. Is that better than Progenitus? Because if I leave my opponent with Minskin-Boo, it does some shit. Like, my opponent can plus unboo this turn, then throw Boo at my face, draw 7, gain 7, and Progenitus isn't a 2-turn clock anymore. Given how good my board, like, the Reanimate and Hogaak are, I think it's very reasonable to just kill Minsc and Boo. I'm really unsure on this decision. I'm going to go for the Progenitus. But again, definitely unsure on that decision. Okay, yep. An Uro. That's not bad. My opponent can Karakas it if they would like. Which they do. So then the next question is like, what do I do regarding Minsc and Boo? Like, do I kill Minsc and Boo? Or do I just send 10 at my opponent's dome? Probably kill Minsc and Boo. Really awkward for me that I can't deal with the Bowmaster right now. I guess I can see if this would resolve on a Troll. Evasion is not as good as it normally might be. Yeah, let's just see if stuff resolves. Okay, my opponent had to run and get a laptop charger. Grist has resolved. I have so many options. Like, I can fetch Dryad Arbor minus Grist, blow up Minsc and Boo, and then hit my opponent for 10. I can also just, like, plus and produce a Hogaak as a secondary body. I want to get rid of Minsc and Boo in some capacity, I think. Alright. So let's fetch... Oh man, Lightning Bolt would be savage. White? Oh, Leyline Binding. Okay, sure. Okay. Dryad Arbor cast Hogaak? Seems pretty reasonable. Yeah, let's do that. I don't know, maybe I just need to kill this Minsc and Boo. I'm worried about this card spiraling the game out of control if I don't take it out. Game's just very awkward. Again, I don't like this whole Up the Beanstalk Orcish Bowmasters situation. Like, I think Orcish Bowmasters is insanely good versus this deck. Sure. Like, it punishes the X1 creatures that are ramping your stuff out. And it also punishes your card draw off Up the Beanstalk, so it's just good against basically everything that you do. Sure. Okay. And this is kind of why I was worried about the natural order. Like, I wasn't entirely convinced that the Progenitus was going to be good enough. I can Murderous... I probably just have to Murderous cut this. Yeah, I just have so many dead cards. Keep the graveyard intact. I don't know. Maybe in hesitating in not just Progenitus trying to attack my opponent 3 times, I lost the game. I also just don't think my draws have been super cooperative. The Murderous cut is just a little too late to use it on Bowmasters, I think. Given life totals. That's going to be 5 cards in graveyard for Uro. Sure. Bringing my opponent to 18. Which realistically means 21 after another Uro attack, which means that Progenitus is just not getting there. Sure. God damn it. This is very frustrating. So, am I supposed to continue attacking with Progenitus? I don't really feel like I'm winning by attacking. So no. I don't want to be reaching this point of the game versus a dedicated control deck, though. I feel like this deck would be very fun to play against not Orcish Bowmaster. I think I played against Bowmaster in 3 of the rounds in this league, and... that's a Green Sun. Leovold's a pretty good get here. Slogurk. Sure. A Surgical Extraction on Murderous cut. Yeah. I've only got to look at my deck before, so they in theory could have seen that I had one of those. Play Swamp. Is this it? Is this my turn? Like, I attack for 10, they go back up to 19, force them to see the line where they bounce their Uro and replay it. Because my opponent is getting very close to the point that they can just kill me. Yeah, I think this is the... I have lost this game, and my opponent needs to mess up. I am dead multiple different ways here. I'm just going to hope that they miss multiple things. So, like, they can Teferi bounce Dryad Arbor out of the way, kill me, and, like, that's one way that I die. And they also have the other line that I talked about. And then I just die on the attack, and that's fine. Yeah, I just need more outs to Bowmasters, I guess. Or sorry, I have 2 Murderous cuts. Like, if I cut Beanstalks to bring in things that are good against Bowmasters, then I, like, make myself worse against the thing that I'm bringing in the cards for. So this is a very frustrating loop to be stuck in. I think I'm going to get rid of it. This is just another answer to Bowmasters. Yeah, I am very frustrated by the whole sideboarding situation here. I'm going to get rid of a Generous Ent and an Endurance to play 2 more things that are good against Bowmasters. Makes me worse against Uro. Makes my Reanimate slightly worse. Okay. I am mostly okay playing basics for the first couple of turns so I don't randomly get wastelanded. Alright, we mill a Contagion. I can just cast a Hooting Mandrills on turn 2. I could also potentially just cast a Hogaak on turn 2. Alright, Stitcher's Supplier did not eat it to exile-based removal, which is good. Attack with Stitcher's Supplier, then fetch Hooting Mandrills. I hate that I have a second Hogaak right now. Oh, is that 19? Another basic should be fine. There's Hooting Mandrills. It resolved. That doesn't mean a lot. Like, I am very much expecting that Swords to Plowshares is a possibility. Sure. Oh, no land? No, okay, there is. This is reasonable. Let's cast this. Alright, Dryad Arbor goes to hand. Not getting to 7 for Hogaak this turn. Only get to 6. But the hope is that I can use Hogaaks to pave the way for Natural Order to actually resolve. Sure, that's fine. Okay, there's a fetch land to clear a Brainstorm now. Like a Swords on Dryad Arbor, sure. Just Hooting Mandrills. This is like very much not the plan. Like, I want to be casting Hogaak, but I am just 1 short. Exile-based removal is annoying. One's at 15. And we're just gonna try to be the beatdown. Sure. Wasteland is actively good. Leovold is annoying. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I attack with Stitcher's Supplier? I don't think so. Let's just keep pressing with Hooting Mandrills. Opponent's at 10. They've used Dryad Arbor, so that's not going to be a thing. Hogaak is now garbage. There's probably 1 Karakas in that deck, just throwing it out there. Sure. I should do this pre-combat in case I hit Gaia's Cradle exactly. Hit nothing? This is infuriating. Sure. And now because my opponent spiked Karakas, my Hogaaks do nothing. And my Satyr Wayfinder missed on a land drop, so I can't just Natural Order. Okay. And the Hogaaks can't serve as bait for Natural Order now, so I kind of have to just go for it. On a tapped and untapped Bayou, I'm not sure why. Fetch again. Surgical Extraction on Bayou. Sure. Get Swamp. Cast Natural Order. See if opponent dies. Opponent dies. We end up with a 3-2 in the league. How are we feeling about the whole Hogaak thing? I expected to have a lot of fun playing this deck, and minus a couple of really cool moments, I would never want to play this deck again because it's so bad against Orcish Bowmasters. And I think that's just the moral of the story here. Like, in the world where Orcish Bowmasters eats a ban or otherwise is not like the most played creature in Legacy, I would love to revisit this deck list because I think the design is super cool. But I just absolutely did not get to like pop off with Up the Beanstalk in very many of these games because I just couldn't play it, or I sideboarded it out because I kept playing against Orcish Bowmasters. And like this 6-card package of Up the Beanstalk and Contagion is like very awkward because Contagion is one of the things that I often want to sideboard out. And they're like, if I try to get better against Orcish Bowmasters so that my Up the Beanstalks become a playable card again, I am often cutting away at some core portion of my deck list to play extra removal. And I'm not hedging against a card, but once I cut these 6 cards, like, I'm in a tough space because then I can't actually sideboard out any other things. So I love the design of this deck list. I love this deck in theory, and then in practice, in the Bowmaster world, this one was not for me. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and if you end up needing any of these Magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!